Lawmakers push inclusion as National Assembly hosts Open Week. First Lady Oluremi Tinubu backs special seats for women in Parliament. And House hosts summit to confront hunger head-on. Hello and welcome to You and Your Reps, the program that connects you directly to the pulse of Parliament. From debates and decisions to oversight and outcomes, we bring you the people, the policies, and the politics shaping life at the National Assembly. I am Victor, so let's get started. The House of Representatives is throwing open its doors and pushing for a more inclusive constitution. At the second annual Open Week, lawmakers urged Nigerians to back amendments that guarantee special seats for women and persons with disabilities in Parliament. The call: don't just watch the process, shape it.
The hallowed chambers of the House of Representatives is thrown open to Nigerians from all walks of life who confidently occupy the legislative seats. After all, it is the people's parliament. The presiding officers welcome everyone for several interactive sessions scheduled for the Open Week to touch on issues that touch Nigerians, especially in the ongoing constitution review.
Under the draft amendment, 10% of seats in both the Senate and the House of Representatives will be set aside for women, apportioned by state to ensure regional balance. These seats will be filled through direct elections on separate ballots. 5% of seats will be reserved for persons with disabilities, with candidates nominated by accredited disability advocacy organizations.
So you are changing Nigeria. You are repositioning Nigeria. You are making it possible for good governance to come, irrespective of who occupies the villa.
The open parliament policy of the National Assembly is applauded as a practice that should be sustained.
At no time in the history of the legislature, especially the House of Representatives, have we had the doors to a chamber thrown open to the public.
I believe you should appreciate your speaker together with his team for them to put this particular opportunity together for you, to re-energize you, to wake you up, that you have a work to do.
More than any other institution of government, the legislature relies on the goodwill of the people to operate effectively.
Keep the torch of the integrity and the mission of this House has been left behind by your predecessors.
Still on the National Assembly Open Week, You and Your Reps later sat down with Representative Paul Nnamchi, a professor of materials engineering. He represents Enugu East, issues of federal constituency in Enugu State. He shared his thoughts on inclusion, representation, and why engaging the constitution review process is every citizen's business.
The National Assembly considers transparency, openness, and technology as a very veritable tool of trust or to measure trust. Having said that, the Open Week is a period that the National Assembly or the House of Representatives at this point considers a time whereby you tell the world what you do, present your scorecard, and for people to actually judge you, but also with a kind of an introspect to see what can be improved, to earn people's trust, invite people to come and see what we've done, judge for yourself what we are doing, and to tell, does it entail that are we really the people's parliament or not? That is most of the time, most of what it entails. Then what about showcase the number of bills sponsored, both passed and unpassed yet, the stages they are, the number of motion moved, the oversights done, and other people engagement projects that the National Assembly are doing. The Open Week started with agriculture, well, rethinking agriculture. on the first day. It was a 3-day, majorly the first and second day is the major way. Well, the first day was one of the days that concentrated on rethinking agriculture, thinking about innovations and laws that can help to rethink agriculture, or to invite the youths to see the importance of agriculture, to give them, the youths, and also farm access to funds, and also make them realize that agriculture is a veritable profession, disabusing the mind that agriculture is meant for the poor. It's no longer in climes like US and others and Europe, but the farmers are the richest. They can also protect the environment during farming. There are also a lot of ways whereby you can make agriculture an ecosystem. A typical example that will be given is where you use the waste from agriculture to generate electricity to run the farm, and also to use that in the case of pig farming, to also use for the people that like that, to use pig dungs to generate electricity, and also to produce the feeds. These areas, it can be made sustainable and ecosystem, which by you maximize their gain and all that. These are things that the youth need to know. These are things that others need to know. And the National Assembly wants to make laws that will also support those things. Number of bills that have passed, number of infrastructure development things that are done, issues about constitution, things that bother the constitution, and also the ease with which the National Assembly has moved the certain groundbreaking bills that have become now an act. So like the Nail Fund, which is the tax reform bill, and so many other ones like that. One will attest that the National Assembly actually would love to be judged by a number of things they do. Not how often they agree with it, but how often they have moved bill that are people's oriented bill. And when you bring it into that of women inclusion and that of the people with disability, it becomes equity. That whereby you talk of equality, but you also talk of equity. Equity indicates that everybody must be carried along, no matter your situation in life. And we also know that those things are unnatural, most of them, so there's not their fault. Then that of in terms of the inclusion of women, is about enlisting a number of women in the parliament, not actually replacing the ones that are there, but just reserving some seats for them alone, like in the senatorial zone, there'll be one person. But also youth engagement also are there, where the youths also are encouraged to imbibe innovations, like in tech and others, because by that, Nigeria will produce a lot of people, you see, because Nigerians are very brilliant people. And we think that when Nigerians are that brilliant, that innovation is a way to showcase what they can do for the people, not just for the people, but also that the country will now become an Eldorado where employment are generated, not just by the government, but also by the private people. The youth cannot even employ people by themselves. And who knows who will generate innovation that will drive the world. But if they are given the opportunity, and that opportunity is what the House is exploring, to open up the space, to open up with the law and legislation for those investments to be. These are soft skills that they may not need all that big infrastructure apart from investment, seed investment. And also to create a space they can also meet themselves and support what they do for the future, because Nigerians are one, and they will be able to support each other from different zones. What the tech from this side, the tech from this side, when they mix up, it becomes a very big, veritable tool, an ecosystem that will also re-energize the economy for all of us. The House also engage the traditional institutions because they see them as also the custodian of various local jurisdictions, that whereby when the traditional institutions are recognized, given their place, they will be able to offer certain solutions to peace, certain solutions in terms of dialogue, which refers to the areas you have also clashes, the area you have in the locals, but in the states, boundary adjustment and all that. But they also needed to be offered some element of legality through the law.
The time is now, and our voice is being heard. That was First Lady Oluremi Tinubu's call at the House Open Week, backing the special seat bill for women in Parliament. Traditional rulers also made their case, submitting proposals ahead of the constitutional review.
Seated here are diverse women groups who came together to speak with one voice. The dialogue is to bridge the gap of underrepresentation among women folks. First Lady Oluremi Tinubu's message cited the role of women that could not be underscored, stressing the need for more representation in the decision-making process.
The truth is that women remain significantly underrepresented in all levels of governance, despite making up nearly half of the population. This is not just a question of fairness, it is a matter of strengthening our democracy and deepening our national development.
With our hearts open and eyes unclouded, in the chambers where laws are made, when voices rise on tax and trade, but fall silent on the pain of childbirth or the shame girls carry for bleeding in school, who will speak of the mother who died giving life?
We are asking that we please be given some reserved seats so that women can compete among themselves.
The leadership of the House also engaged traditional rulers on their constitutional role.
One of the most important roles that the traditional rulers will be playing or will be officially playing is, advisory services to the government. At any level, you'll find out that we have traditional, leaders there.
It has gone to a stage whereby even the traditional ruler himself, he does not want to involve in politics. In some cases where the government is the government of the day is the one that appointed you to become your majesty. You see that when during their rally or their campaign day to your local government or to your kingdom, in some cases they drag you to participate on the field. And if you don't do that, they say you're not loyal. You start having issues with that administration.
We want to join hands with the government in the area of community policing to complement the proposed state police, which is still on the table as well, so that there will be better security in their quality.
Traditional rulers must have to be part of government, recognized.
And we want to assure you that we will continue to do everything humanly possible to make sure that this time around your collective aspiration and ours as we see the light of the day. Your Royal Highnesses, the National Assembly is dedicated to creating a system that blends modern governance with our cherished traditions.
And the fight against hunger is back on the front burner. The House Committee on Nutrition and Food Security has convened a national summit, pulling stakeholders together to forge real solutions to malnutrition and food insecurity. The goal: stronger synergy, smarter action, and no more half measures.
The core of food security is that every citizen should have access to nutritious, safe, and sufficient food always. This is the major focus of the National Summit on Nutrition and Food Security at the National Assembly. The heart of the summit lies in the stories of stunted children, people displaced by flood and left with nothing to eat, of farmers losing yields due to climate change, as observed by Chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on Nutrition and Food Security, Chike Okafo.
Let experts tell us what we should do, both at the national and subnationals, to address this challenge of malnutrition and lack of food.
Participants at this summit, drawn from federal, state, and development partners, were clear. Every Nigerian child deserves more than a hungry stomach. Enhanced governance priority on nutrition and increased awareness at the local level.
transforming our food systems to make them more sustainable. The Nutrition 774 was bettered, showing that Nigeria has decided as a unit to tackle malnutrition.
It is hoped
And so the
that these
N774, the
conversations
name
won't end in
is
the
actually
corridors of the National Assembly, but in fuller plates, healthier meals, and a nation that nourishes its own.
The leadership of the House of Representatives has resolved to meet with Senate leadership to iron out perceived delays in the consideration of House bills meant for concurrence in the Senate. Now, this resolution was sequel to a mild drama where two bills from the Senate were refused consideration in the House during plenary.
Bills passed in the Senate requires concurrence in the House of Representatives and vice versa. But tit for tat played out during House plenary, when two Senate bills listed for second reading were stepped down by lawmakers, citing undue delay in consideration of bills transmitted to the Senate for concurrence. The bills seek to establish the Federal Orthopedic Hospital, Obokun, Osun State, and the Federal University of Medicine and Medical Sciences, Egbe, Kogi State.
I have two bills that have been in the Senate as early as 2024. And Mr. Speaker, up till now, there's not been listed for concurrence.
From what the clerk told me, we have 146 bills that are with the Senate, and I, as a person, I have more than 10 bills. Some are there for more than 6 months. No attention. We don't know what is really happening.
I would not want to support the second reading of the bill. I would therefore ask that we step it down.
Honorable colleagues, is that our position? So this bill is stepped down by the leave of the House.
Other bills, however, scaled second reading.
Bill for an act to establish National Sickle Cell Institute.
Bill for an act to alter the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to create Ethiop State.
Lawmakers condemned renewed terrorist attacks in parts of Yobe State, urging military response.
ISWAP again struck in Bunyadi, just 3 days after the Northeast Governors meeting held in Damaturu.
In other resolutions, the House sought investigation and justice over the murder of some Ebonyi citizens, as well as relief for victims of GSM village fire in Kano State.
I move that the House declare this as a national disaster and urge NEMA and federal government to release immediate relief funds for victims.
Unprovoked and gruesome murder of 13 Ebonyi indigents at a community called Ogboji in Orumba South local government area of Anambra State. Mr. Speaker, it's a matter we think that if not urgently handled, could lead to a breakdown of law and order between these two brotherly states.
When the House says one thing and the Senate says another, who settles the score? Now that's where the conference committee comes in. It's one of the most important tools in legislative negotiation, where selected members from both chambers meet behind the scenes to iron out differences in a bill and agree on a final version. Let's break down how it works and why it matters.
Conference committee is one of those committees where you have a bicameral parliament like we have in the National Assembly, the Senate and the House of Representatives. You come up with resolutions and you make laws. Both products from the House and the Senate must align. Where there is a difference, to the extent of that difference, a committee is usually raised of members from both floors, that is, members of the House, members of the Senate. They come together to form a joint committee, usually called a conference committee. Their business is to go and look at the piece of legislation that emanated from the processes in their various chambers. And they look at only those areas of differences. They don't introduce anything new. What they do is to say on
Let's say they have 5 differences in the both laws. On difference 1, do we take the position of the House or the one of the Senate? In position 2, difference 2, do we take the Senate or the House? So they pick one of the 2 differences, and then they arrive at a position. They don't make any new law. Once they have come up with that, the majority of them are required to sign, or all of them, but majority. And then it's sent back to both houses for adoption.
This week on You and Your Reps, our committee segment turns the spotlight on the newly established Southeast Development Commission. To break it down, we start with the Deputy Chairman of the committee, Representative Paul Nnamchi, who walks us through the Commission's mandate, early priorities, and what it means for the region going forward.
The takeoff has been smooth, but the money has not been flowing. But there is a promise, and I don't know how firm it is, but there's a promise. And I also believe that the government cannot just create something that cannot do. But the Southeast, as is usually known, are very innovative and industrious people. The chairman has also started working in earnest. And I can tell you, even though that I formed 25 years ago, and looking at them, if these people can move this fast without money, when they give them money, would we ever catch them? They want also to dust they have also, I wouldn't say they want to dust, but they also improved the Okpara agricultural strategy that's worked when the Southeast was the best or the fastest growing in Africa. They have also done it. Some of the shortfalls, like where Okpara focused more on industrialized crops or cash crops. You also need that today the population has also grown. It's no longer about cash crops alone. We also need to feed our people. You also need to be sustainable. We also want to make science a very interesting aspect. We want to make our people to grow with tech, and also make innovations in that aspect. We want our people to obtain that soft skill that you can also be at your home and become billionaire. In the next few years, if all this thing works, development, the Southeast will be an Eldorado for all of us and for the country, because it's not going to be for the Southeast, because all of us are driving to work in one Nigeria, in a unified place where everybody will give an opportunity. An equal opportunity will abound for people to work that attract people from other regions. Why you see a lot of Southeasterners going out is that they don't have a lot of presence of federal or a lot of high-yielding employments. Things like having things like a workable international airports, a workable seaports, a workable tech centers, a workable private enterprises, big hotels, big tech companies, even big agricultural activities. Like areas where you build something like cement manufacturing plants, like you see Ankarago, so has ceased to exist. These are areas that should be reinvested. The Southeast build houses a lot. Every man wants to build in his village and build where he is. So cement is very important. Those things that enable infrastructure should be focused upon. These are things you look at. There's also who eat sugar. Why do we go and buy it? We can also grow there. These are things you must provide those stable things, those stable foods in our environment.
And that's where we wrap it up on this week's edition of You and Your Reps. Thank you very much for staying with us and for keeping your eyes on the people you elected. I am Victor, as well. See you next time.